Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jebera badawada na konton na bismillah bifana Cameroon nan jang na program mi alla kon ka samana loko pour kaje ko nimbangu dingole kacha ko le mi alla ka badening banko la taman din nyala abol kono politiko economy anin fanna ko tan mi alla ko le jibe katambe ning banko la kacha ko nyina bidun na min sorjam one of my own brother not boss tuba marek yal nako he's very busy this weekend but in ko tuba nyane samana na kachala so at least he has accorded us with this opportunity to come and talk to us on this podcast ko na kachakula mi an nako abadening politiko la but politiko mi mu fatam fanso do manim bijel atamu mo di mi an nako ala do ko dinata min kam bake wala mo niata data la fanna jibe wala niata number sol jibe anu men sande di banko kan afna mi alaka ko mada baki bari na jelo ko kamen ko mandi mama kande ata kera modi mi alna ko atare president adam baro kande sanji tan ko mama kande modi mi alna ko atare election o nyina pour ani ya jembe ning president baro akara modi mi alna ko anata ke jama soto o fanna nyina annon fanan na la kilo baka nyaaro do mandi 2021 akara modi mi alna ko participate in national election wala presidential election tumo mi nanin jambe la mol keda modi mi alna ko ka futa nyokan o kam bar watina amanna election o ñi winno so mba mama kandala ko ñi mba kacala bake mba dina political strength ñi nato ani sande ndi atala position wala lo comme ñaadi ni ada gambela politique wala fanna jibel wala la formation ñaada gambela politique fanna jibe tuba he walk us through about that as well annum fana wokola mina IEC fan jibela mba kacada ko fara IEC la fanna la dami do mi yalan ko wala kido bakan independent electoral commission bunda mi alna ko wala mata kate fewla ana kunya gambia banko kan ikeda modi mi alna ko mo jamale je bake to momina jawabal ko dubal mo kilinka register signa fula wala signa saba anu IC fo ni admit la nun e press conference o min kan ko man demandi mo wuli jama wala keda modi mi alna ko register signa fula banko nyin kan annun fana kabento momina IC finindro ke mo la mi alna ko wala register mo dol mi yana ko tulman findi wa kam ko ya baka ay sira do ko la nana tuba mi yana ko adala do ko mu mindi wala mu namba soldi mi nyin sabu annum fanam muna tina tala mi yoto nyi mistake ko dol sodata abakela modi mi yana ko he is gonna walk us through but time mo dila pour ka je ko ay dum ko nyin kono ka fanam fasi kendeke ko la fitala nyamin and the B program tuba mara bismillah once again this is your third appearance on Think Point isira may ko onward o nanyina in jibeda ni ma nyala nyokondo
Yo, barka bake Alu Job. Kontaan da Cameroon and Think Post podcast pro kana Think Tank podcast right? Pro kana Think Point right? Think Point podcast pro kana ni mole kacha kacha ko la membe dende Gambia la political kacha ko la me alon ko be dende Gambia la nyaatu tayo len ko nsafa dorom Gambia la ko me because kaduniya political jube sign nsafa no ko bebe wala kono politicien ol menul ka tambi ñaato no jaara ken yala karola eto leka nsembenti yaaje na karam la karola na security na tankol na nafulo karol fengol be akana la bang anin even na tilimo bundal to be kana la bang ito lekon bara kuma sta min dole wala carte fayla do ba dingol ka carte fay mol be ka carte fay banko kan na ya fay na ya di men na ko tambita ay na mara atol te ma jama fam ni ko korosi ikabontol fangol le kono bar ni nata tambi be wo nyaato kana ku jamaaji je mi alon ko abkana mol nyaafa bar biti lola kate fayata man jam fa ko tenkede man jam fa ngalon karo menten nata karnan karul mal amal la bosi because we are already in August, so about 4 to 5 months we've been kate fayo timal butun nin kate fayda sanji lulu manda be wole dila mola membe tambila na tambita kol mel ngi be fo jam ba ko la kold wol baby na tarla wala kono so abe kuma yala bake kana ka taw ko wala ibe ko folo kan dame na mama kan dela sawmo to nyala ko ale son diamol be keri ne jumale be tambila jumale be flag kala flag be araldi pour won se banko di wala ise tambi mo nyaato sanjilul ko tenna bari nga sawol fanan jele ya comme membe je don ko mama kan de bota anala patita de nyamen ako John Agboka dubena so malo I don't really know what he was trying to say. But I mean, long well officially the leader of GDC atata le kafu NPP ma even though GDC la leader abinu coalition diamo kon so ngamol konton ko dan kadro ala barka aliou kontanta kanaja kafu ila itela ni la jiberla be mal mo fanan kontona I think among futa nam follow bar mi jikrin ko abe kafula majam pour se kachani ko bela thank you.
All right, abarga wage tuba baduna kaja ko fanani na kada muta kaja fonko no I mean I just want to show your opinion to moment na yamwe mama kandiala jono ni announcement. What was your initial reaction mana mila jibero do fanani
kabringa moy iko mama kande kafuta baroma mbaratale amanke kuti me alon ko ni afunye num mba fole ko yes abitale hani mama yo kuma jamal le fu baroma before BWC le hakilo benu makam nane barona na diam tamale then anata baro jabi barala baro jabi woning ake in a very professional way kadu GDC mol bentale alfal benda I think in Jimara anata ka diam fo mo bije famen ka kan nasor ka diam adama le ko menul beke during the 2021 time fanang election time I remember bi diam kan fa ka diam ko men adam baro ye UDP jam fa nyame adam baro ko fulu ta la nyame anen ba Gambia be deto men kono Gambia la nyaato ta balia anum fana nyin latest trend ko comme nyin you know science and mimicking coalition into mama kande bijele I think until long today GDC was a very big part of it kata UDP and others but then UDP naraje ko ñu lafa ka ko samba nyame itol mo la fole itol nata finti mama kande bije the other stakeholders malon jumale ko their movements but ntenga men recognize what APPA so where then you have unite fanam bije nada moy iko mama tada kafuta baro mambarata bare ni tolbe kata kan jumale betambela in the opposition figo tolbe la da ko banko bita kan nyama man tara ta kan kuke yarfa ni tol kata somandala tilbulo ni wularo inin dole fanan kata kacha wala so atara ke kerem fula bayndi lade kerem do nyinga fota wala ko nyindo janimbe fola wala mbaru makafuma so abakelo ko ani malum ba fala nyaade anin sungoleng anin sumbayndi lalle so you know so wo fulol be adiamo kasiale you can't be in the two boats but then ndara mo ko rumors kumata nguno keda ko mama bitala jana baroya so you know kamra keda I'm like wow really and then budum fele jambi
ko ana denuncia bagi but janim baduna kaja gon tuba say sorry baduna kaja gon sobe ko na sanani janim ba diamla alliance ina fanani na I want you to work the electoral data. What does electoral data tell us about Mama Kande's political strength over the past two elections? Yada Mama Kande participated in 2016 election when even though I have different opinion with Nyanjai with regards to that, he said Mama Kande should be commended for standing alone. I said nope. Mama Kande was against the Gambia. It's just that things go that way, but he was against the Gambia. And then who knows? Perhaps Mama Kande might participate for 10% of his vote is going to Gambia. So don't tell us that Mama contributed a lot in moving Gambia here. So, but I just want to hear your opinion. What did data tell us?
Just a quick response to that. Before I'll go into Janimbitala Kuolkono 20 Mamala Kafu Nyolo Pro election auto 2016 and 2021. Nyanja kama mfumo Jamal fana wali yalo wo kusival Benyamin idi imantara sabatiring ninko amantara sabatiring motafla no for certain because imam bulu sote bala ala menkanko tonya mama lo afaye 2016 wala atina jambe bodaje what ngamelo wala ko coalition ole wint wobe sabatiring wole be sabatiring so mama lo molla miraro na tamena wala ko because mama was an APRC parliamentarian ni manyina abenu MPR no on the APRC ticket APRC molbije menul ya kan wokan you understand though ndanga trends menul ya malla wayo support to fully that extent coming ala APRC dominance it only came later sai molia miracle APRC molia kan wokan then in 2016 kabra lota faya manka fu coalition ma wala mol menul be APRC menul ya lonko jikobi nunje isa fayno jamme bar woliata kanu inate la carte madi jammela yadi mamala you understand so kabri yadi mamala at the time because near jube mama kande 89,768 I wole soto out of like that's about 17% of the whole votes. Mama Kande Wolosoro. Yeah, Jamme, who was second to the coalition, at 40% of votes. That was about 208,487. Coalition men Ganyeta at the time, they have 227,708. That is just a 3% difference. And in Jamme. So mola mirror ning atara mama kafra nun coalition ma. Bari because ateman tambi, barole tambita, mol minimum baro long, maybe baro also about a UDP, wal mele along ko benu APRC, mama kanu alataro APRC wal safugo laftale nun ndo lafta mama la de. Lafta jambeta, bari nyindo mola malafu wala. So ise muru aida ita carte faila o yeta ye murun dorong ya di jamele no kata jambe sina ganye kotenke so kule me alon ka man sabati so wala nante jamaje ma nimbe diam la ntaka la fi diam la kule men sabati because it all comes down to is my opinion and then a million people could have a million opinions and whose opinion do you take so it is better and then analysis just keep to what has happened and then go through those trends and so on then that way I'm not going to be limited to ngafu ko nyimuna opinion that I just way from that argument so yeah Mama Kande Niala performance due 2016 versus 2021 I want to highlight there are a few things in Sediamun Women but I want to highlight one thing that is the APRC factor Mamala Ta Baroya, I don't think he is going to take the APRC people with him. The APRC NATO alliance. So in 2021, it's no secret call. Mama Kande, Yajambaya endorse Lenum at a political meeting. I don't know if it is a rally, Buva Zone. Maya Jamed Diamdanunje. I don't know whether direct call or WhatsApp, but I think Lamintama was the one facilitating it at the time. Lamintama Benunkana Sorolafang, I believe. Ya Jambe diamra ala APRC supporters here, the Noto Alliance, ka foye ko, menul bate ko ma men lata tela, isi ala carte di mama lata be mama la endoska. And tell a mirror to one other fintile that has reflected in the results that came to mama. I'll take you through a few facts. In 2016, though outcome fengo nyimansia mol melia carte fight in 2016, amo besiaga obviously the turnout was just 59%. 886,000 registered, 578, but 525,867 were in Adaka Kartify. So menul tuta koma siata bakel. You know, it is almost about 39%, something like that. You know, 39% or so, up to 40% sort of, will be manaka Kartify. But even with that, near Kande Jube, I do a ranking. Kajube Kandela best quantities. Out of the 53 constituencies, can afford I foot the 53rd one, Kabu 1, and the best performance, what happened in all Yundum. All Yundum are 7,342 sort of. Out of all the constituencies in Gambia, that's 7,342, what are the best performance in 2016. Then yena ala 10th best performance keta combo south ala second best like lower Nyomi, then third best upper Nyomi. Even Jimara Bota Damendo ala 5th best performance sort of wallet. And that was 3,207 votes. Levaka Fensa Mayenanjang. Ala 10th worst performance in 2016. Waketa Kiang Wesley. Yena Foni Jaro, Banjul Central, Foni Berefet, Banjul South, Foni Bondali, Banjul North, Foni Binta, Foni Kansala, then Janjamburi. Mamala performance in all the Fonis were poor. In fact, Foni Kansala, Mama 103 votes sort of water. Only 2% of the votes I was sort of in Fonyi Kansala in 2016. But sign near Fonyi Kansala Jube in 2021 after Jambela I Mama endorsed Waro Mena. Mozafano maybe Mama Faniala underground work California called convince. I would say no to that. I would believe entirely ko Yajama domain. Yajama Bota Kanela. Kanela is in Fonyi Kansala. Ndabota Kandonkule in Fonyi Binta. Fonyi Kansala became Mama's 4th best performance from the 52nd worst performance ranking. The second to last worst performance became his 4th best performance. And I 6,121 votes already. But in the other election, I 103 votes already. Imagine Javadan. And 70.73% of the votes, Mama la gagné in Fonyi Kansala. 70.73% of the votes, Mama la gagné in Fonyi Kansala. So which means about 29 point something percent Watata or model layer. Like you remember there were 5 candidates. Wale
Sure.
Watala. So in other Mamala performance in the phonies, those are APRC dominant areas. I mean Binta. Ntola Fonyi Binda,
I'm
Mama
agree with
had
you
the
on
sixth best performance for the world. But model bafla oh, bari alon 22 and 1 then mol siata ka kartifa. Ha to nyale, but just to debunk such an idea, la faka fem fo in 2021, in 2016 rather, Mama's best performance happened in All Yundum, right? But near All Yundum Jube, in 2021, me alonko karte final siata tamola. Mama still underperformed in All Yundum. When we have more people, he perform. When we have less people, he perform better. When we have more people in the same constituency, he perform less. So because until the election in Gambia is about quantity, like Jumala said, at the end of the day, if let's say you can swipe polls in KM and in Birkama, you don't need the rest of the people. You'll still become president on first past the post. You'll become president. So I'm just looking at the mere quantity. We can go on to talk about like the qualitative call. For example, I 70.73% sort of in Fonyi Kansala, yet I 13% sort of in 2021, I 13% sort of in Combo South, but that vote will see at 70% sort of in Fonyi Kansala. And what would 13% dabal? So if you want to do a percentage representation, you may feel like the quantity of numbers. Because no percentage for the wrong, it just represents the quality. But until electoral college in Gambia, until be quantity. Menta siata back, and yet zero sort of blood older, you can still become president. So I'm just looking at quantity. I can talk about the quality, but I've been because you're just talking about percentage. Percentages can be big there, but the quantity is small.
Yeah.
So when I get a mama so I can talk about other APRC dominant area. Let's say maybe Talinim Kunja Mafamola. Yeah, I understand. And I know APRC called Seattle around it, and I have a lot of friends in there. And Talinim Kunja Mama's 34th best performance in 2016 Talinim Kunja with 1,249% of the votes. I always saw the game. But in Talinim Kunja, in 2021, we get a 15th best performance. And what I 2,280 with 12% of the votes. So you can see go in tola foni mafamola foni bintanyol bondalinyol jarol wodulalto mama worst performance sort of walleto 7% anala vote sol kataradame do 103 councillor even though he went on to make it 6,000 plus. And then you go to Foni Bondali 339. Nidara Foni Bondali after that, obviously, Mama went on to 1,785. I was sort of 40% of the votes. So near APRC domino effect Bondiji. But before then, if you reflect on 2016, covering Mama Lora, I think he went on to secure at least a minimum of one parliamentary seat, Malong 2 or 3 or so. I know Omar Sise was his parliamentary.
He got almost, I think, 3 or 4. He got
around that end. Let me just say to be safe, a minimum of one. 2, 3, or 4, whatever the number is. I also don't know. Right? But then in 2021,
the one affected to Barrow too. It was his
you know, those things happen. Then in 2021, even though he was backed by APRC Nodo Alliance, but in the Fonies, APRC Nodo Alliance maintained their seats. I believe they maintain all of it. I know in Foni Binde Bejele, Kansala Bejele, and the other Fonies to Bejele, right? APRC Nodo Alliance maintained their seats. But Mama,
Namrana saying that he got 5 seats in the parliament.
Oh, Lama, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Okay, he got 5 seats like in the parliamentary election. But in 2021, he went on to lose all of them. Malai more maintained in 2021. Ama more maintained, but in the Fonies, Mayor Alongo, he was backed by Jame at the time he was endorsed. The Fonies maintained, even though it's a Noto alliance, the Fonies maintained their parliamentary seats. Almami Jiba Bijele, Foni Berefet Bijele, Amikoli, and then you have Bakar Kebaji in Foni Bintang. The only Fonies too, I think they have it. Mawala MP but the other three Ngawalone, right? So the Mama effect is there. And then I said somewhere, Barrow could gain as much as he lost. That is, Barrow for an NPP, Moza, oh, Mama Taraje, Mama ni 105,000, Mama ni 105,000 Titano Barrow. I don't think so. Because at the moment, when Sabatita Wolenko, even our executive Ngalo Molo resigned, the likes of Ibrahim Nyamala resignation jet, but I don't think Ibrahim Nyang at the moment, I feel like he'll be disappointed. Knowing well, he has been at the forefront saying these are rumors, and then a cosman fight can then seeing what his party leader does is contrary to what the young guy was fighting for, even though he was admin secretary number 1. So Mama Tala will be Sambalano. So also obviously parliamentary seats may lose. So ngajal ko Mama la GDC ila nambal be talaka ne Jamal Tara Baro, the Masabali will be able to GDC le Tara Baro, and ye Palasi Baso he is actually a minister. So mol siata mel tata so mama fanan tata ba anala mol kale ani bitano le no baro fana ye mol loose le ke ba madi nyol mele alon ko ke ba madi bota jambur le ay sembo soto jela ay flowal soto jela ay believer soto jela people who believe in his politics mele alon ka say dino ay dino NPP la Malik Kamara amana ADD le right I don't know like angalo ne Malik akita nyanya mo do mandimba bulule wo fana ne wol bebe NPP le wol fana bota jele mol bota je then mama tata je mama na mol beat tano so it's going to be a swing sort of but he said mama la performance jubilee without APRC and now he lost a lot to NPP you could see ko mol better la ko malede but it might not make such a difference but as of now we wouldn't know for certain until past the post in December 2026.
Tuba, I just want to lafa ke mu da yin da demanding ni ada jibe mama kande I have found privilege to be the third political force in the government to train. And in Kedal 2016 I third position to 2021 also. He took third position. That shows that the guy have a relevant. But niata jibe there is a different niata jibe performance fan declined the back from 2020 to 2021. You can walk us through on that because niata jako in quantity base it has increased a little bit. Just with like for example maybe 15,000 additional also to them from 2021 between 2021 to between 2016 to 2021. But when you look at the percentage, it has declined from 17% to 12%. Even though Jambia Baklano and Jav support in the Gambia at that time before in Phoenix, our performance has increased. But near 2016 GB, our performance declined back our performance among perform back in Phoenix region. But Kabin Jambia back, Phoenix become one of his highest performing
strong points, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So what did these numbers tell you? Near GB decline from 2016 to 2021. And
well, what the numbers tell you? So we have to talk about variables because kujamal like a sort of me along could decline kanana. Okay, let's say without the APRC effect, APRC node alliance, if Jamaica had thrown his weight behind someone else different from Mama, I'm so even at a 12% in the decrease like the 105,000 for 902 people could say near the APRC node alliance votes bondiji, Jamale betalaraji. But remember, Mama was in parliament. If Nibe parliament, you are good, right? I mean, you're gonna get your salaries, you're gonna get your sitting allowances, you're gonna get your cars and stuff. Like the life would be more balanced. Now, when you are in the opposition side, you ila source of funding. You don't really have anyone sitting there for you. If you have MPs, they can contribute mal on what their laws are and what their fundings are internally. But now, if you don't have any representative, and then you actually need a business to survive or something. So resource-wise, Purumamaya fund sponsor in politics could be difficult for him. But it will be challenging rather. It will be very challenging. So Nibodan in 2016, and you are losing that slowly, for you don't have anyone. In 2021 now be 2026 corner. Then it ever when you found Kusonsong Ya Jube, Molbinu Bule, Demba and so many other people, top politicians at the GDC level, will in our budget, ila parliamentarians defector, itara. Nada for the 2026 corner sign. I don't think he is getting the APRC backing anymore. Mira, he is gonna get that anymore. APRC could be thinking of something else, right? And then Nemo was sort of, right? What do you want now? You want to lead either a coalition. Is that a coalition, Tokla? UDP Finditaji. I understand you're talking about what the numbers show. This is exactly what the numbers show, deep down. UDP Finditaji now, it is Mama, Unite, APPA, Sobea, and then the other stakeholders, Menul Beji. I think Jedabo Bedame for NUP Fanambe Kachakono, right? At that point, did Mama believe he is going to be the de facto leader of that coalition? I don't think so. I think Unite by all means want to lead. Most argue for one of the reasons for Talib Unite formed. Talib primaries the UDP. Amasoto Dolkafo he resigned before the primary result. But what was certain? He applied for the primaries, and then the primaries outcome was not him. It was Layadab. So that could be a reason for Talib Nala Unite Bodaji. Even main reason, Munatinafang, Ebota Woodblad, Talib Bodaji, before Unite at the time. Talib Nata Budget and Unite Nata form. So I need UDP la primary, so Ebola UDP kono, itata kafu, I think it would only make sense because you would want to lead that Fenko, that group. Now Mama also, because ala latest benchmark, at the time was 105,000. You can look at other variables surrounding it, but I'm after 105,000 because only sabatiring until another election comes. Then NUP, you know, J Dabo with his quality as a vibrant lawyer, you know what he represents. As a person, he's top notch. He would also believe in his qualities, his his understanding of affairs of the status quo, and what he believes could be the lasting solution. He would believe him and his NUP should lead. Isafal, a tremendous job, Keller. You cannot deny that our TRRC performance was top notch. To me, that was 100%. It was just so good. And our international performance, and he believes, with that experience, with that knowledge, with what he has in mind and what he knows, he has the solution to Gambians. And then if you look at the way Issa speaks about issues, I will say, he would not want to be led by, the other stakeholders plus Unite, right? So yeah, UDP factor was more of we have parliamentarians, we have councillors, we have local government areas, and we have been in this game for so long, and we have the numbers, not just 2021, consistently backing us way back in time from 96 to date. So we have that consistency, we have the grassroots. So for us, it is not a conversation of convention-led or even a candidate-led. For us, it is a party-led. And if it's not a party-led, then you go and decide your fate, and we are going up. So there are different variables in this. And Mama, I don't really think, even GDC with the numbers that they have, they will become the front runners in this coalition Puruka lead. So Neo JJ, Niman coalition or lead, if you in GDC, ma APRC support sort of. It a win no. What is your political fate going forward? Then the decline in numbers push you to do something else. And that is what came to light. Ngawale jeteng anataka kafu NPP ma. So need other NPP if everything goes smooth from now until December. Domandingo yeme ensoro umitali. December bakatila dame momalong. A lot of variables will come into effect. Kacha fango be diara dame tell a mirror road obe kela nin nomination or tambit because sign potential level foka. Alaman tankala kibari kuyari ngola bari jannin December tima jamfatale. Alabe menkela momalong membina kela fana momalong. The knowledge of the unseen or the future is best known to God. Until we always say by the grace of God, ning alsonda alma alim benio siyama. But say ni tata alman tankalol nada, God forbid. Then futata IEC nomination. I'm so called the 20-something party registered in Gambia. IEC is not going to endorse all of that. We cannot afford to have a ballot of those many, right? Now we might not even have up to 5 ballot boxes or even more than 5. So I know who are going to be the ones to be left out. And so called those who have been there before could possibly make it, like the incumbent will be in jail. Nana mama ko incumbent bali nomination all of it. So whether they meet the requirements or not, possibly the fate of the ISC chairman lies within the hands of the president because he appoints and disappoints at the same time. He can put you there or remove you. I think the executive power is there. So incumbent will be that. The main opposition party UDP nana mama ko bali nomination na the cabinet 96 can have be need at anytime. So I think they know what it takes to make it past the nomination phase. Well be not. Sign Sobea before the APPA. Sobea nane nomination passed in 2021. So I think they would know what it takes to pass nomination. Now other stakeholders, other parties and so on, NUP nomination passed, but then with the late Abdullah Jambe, Almane Manin Kafaro Kelai. Now with with JDABO, I believe the blueprint, what made them pass the nomination should still be in effect. So they should be able to copy and paste that if nothing changes, and then go to do funding. There is something legally challenging with JDABO, man that status quo on, because I know he is or was a British citizen. So malong how that will play out in the nomination phase, right? So we can say, okay, Unite. Talib has passed nomination through UDP ticket, but as a mayoral candidate. But as a presidential candidate, we are yet to get there. So Momalong, at the end of the day, Jumale be nomination passed, who will become the finalist? Because ne IECA Bali, wrong or right, you cannot do anything about it. At that instant, what you can do about it is to go to the court. You cannot do anything about it when the announcement is made immediately at that second. You only have to resort to the court proceedings. Neither the legal status, a legal procedure follow. By the time when legal procedure banta, okatra campaign jamfata. CL fair nyame. Okay, I think the court clears them, and then they could not even run because water mol dunda kol kono jamfata. So Nimomos went through such a fate. Kol sina kandibulu. Na kanditebulu. in a logistics bela kadu nyokono because say I see a rebel nomination and maybe ye remove from the campaign logistics as in Jumala bin Ajan Jumala kala dan always switch la nyame niete bonni wo by the time code yete clear pour yete murundi na logistics kono cool jamfata liro sutiata tonga December 5th man jamfa ko December famo sutiata you know the tempo is already high maybe fam you might not even run so those but sign ni I see the final list fintita mbalona ko these are the final candidates final birol fele ñu lebe dunna ñu lebe dala sitila e dun lu wokono you know borela malon tantan ko silali tantan ko si mole dum kuel yeke so until we know that what time will from alona who are the candidates who are the coalition this and that and then things will go on but for now we can talk about potential so yes mamala numbers ya to swing ta wala nyama and it led to him going to NPP.
Yeah, so I mean, I just want to saw the opinion on that, but you already clarified that point because maybe the one I'm calling I see reject no. This was my question to I think yeah maintenance and guy I'll get a multi-meal noko Allah registration process. I left floor so it might register first time. Okay, but if this meant to happen during Allah nomination, it's gonna be a game over. Album strategy la put together pour kaje ko mistake wol mi also alla nomination alla registration I can also the nomination on you. So I think that was a great point because if the third force happens to select Talib or Esa, who at the end of the day, you know, I see Nadajako, they do not actually meet certain criteria. Neither nomination on you, not revoke. That is going to be a bombshell. But anyway, you've already addressed that part. I just want to walk us through about the data with respect to which region has consistently been Mama Kande's strongest political base. In
Consistency muna wala bije karte ka kese fula amalong presidential karte fay fula wala keda but I will tell you the best performance kiran all yundum lo wanyomi open nyomi wala la first three performance the best one okay let's talk about Jimara yalo mama bota Jimara right I think about the Jimara constituency I hope that is right but animal wala ne ka the Jimara brothers sai in Jimara 2016 with a 59% turnout, you know, 59 point something, 59 point something percent turnout. Even with that low turnout, Mama got 3,207. I want to say Nina the Jimara Jube, with that he got about 30% of the votes in Jimara in 2016. But Nina, in 2021, Mama only got 21.25% of the votes in Jimara, but the quantity increased to 4,051. So I will say, well, obviously, in 2021, we had about 89 point something turnout, percentage-wise, about almost a 90% turnout, with people doubts and so on and so forth. More diameter kola 4 second over. Ngwana nam asutiata nunka kede malam for 2011 mafangola. 1 second, I can quickly just go into that. 2011, the electorates, ballot cast, I mean 796,929. Well, those were the electorates, and ballot cast was about 657,902. The turnout was actually 82% in 2011. That was such a number as well. And it was the time that Yajame got 72% of the votes. Jame got 470,550 votes. Then you have Leo Senudabo, 114,177, and Hamad Ba, 73,060 at the time. So Jambe swiped 72%. I think they called it, I don't know, whatever it was, a Grand Alliance or whatever it was. But then the incumbent swiped those polls massively against the rest of the oppositions combined. Yeah, so that's what happened. Mamala best performance is all Yundumleng in 2016, Lower Nyomi, Upper Nyomi. And then Ala all Yundum in 2021, he has less numbers, even though I less numbers sort of jail. Percentage-wise, he has less percentage and also even less numbers, despite the electoral numbers, the increment in the electoral numbers, and even the outcome. So, those swings be jail. But Nina the lower Nyomi, obviously lower Nyomi, I 6,191 I was sort of in 2016. Lower Nyomi, in 2021, May Alongo, we still have more people registered. He only got 2,000 votes. So the swing knew what happened to it. You do well in 2016, you did not do well in 2021. 2021. Obviously, ngalo the movement across the board to MPP, all parliamentary seats loosely. There was an APRC support where me alonko, if you know of APRC dominant areas, I just put in telling them the five Foni constituencies, and then I could see a big jump in terms of increase. So APRC has 70 year back, and that led to definitely alanyo 105,000 me alonko more car. So ala 2021 mboko no nyame, sorry, 2026 mboko no nyame five now being so I very much doubt it. There are so many factors. Obviously, I was going to talk about the IEC factor, but you mentioned we will talk about it. What are nama for follow? But all those are factors that could me along ko nimol futatama as election o tano la keteng o ya keteng. Yalo, you know, referee fana. It'll fana dabe game o konole. It's a tiki taka play nya. It's a play a quality so nya. On a game that even the referee is against you, there's no way Real Madrid will always get a penalty. So, and they will not miss all of them.
Yeah, so on the side of Babaka, they've left a wrap up with Janela. Niara GB, next question under regards would be what variable could reduce or increase the effectiveness of the alliance? What are some of the variables you think might increase or decrease their effectiveness?
Yeah, so right now, you mean like variables that could reduce like the alliance, NPP alliance or the opposition alliance?
NPP alliance, like Mama Kandalata Barokang, yeah,
oh, yeah, well, so maybe it's easy, right?
Mama is Nyang, you quoted Nyang, and then we believe that Nyang and others and Omar Tise are the people me and Loko. I do not believe they're gonna incline themselves with Mama Kandalata.
Omar Wayafola Senator Safaro Keloko, he is not going to be party to anything that will keep Uncle Sam in presidency. That will increase maybe Uncle Sam's chances of third term. And nako mbarin Sam ngalongabe barole. So you know, yes, Mama is among the people Mayor Alonko. Before I joined NPP, he is among the people who fiercely or critique the current regime, security-wise, corruption-wise, and so many other factors. Mama will be for Lala Diamoto, and even to a point, Kafako Nimmo Ibafla Momo Jamfan Tumot, what Adamal and Jamfan Tumot are not UDP. I just listened to a video of Mama saying that yesterday. Sai nita ko kol mantara betearing kol mantara takam kuke corruption of siaring banko kane unfortunate incidences of police brutality, the PIU Mealongo, it led to the death of Omar Badi, you know, in that place. I don't know, behind Lamen, I think it's around that end, Banjulinding also. And so many other occurrences menul keta. If you call mantra takan, sayena murung itata, ilafata umarika. But then what really has changed? Mina Falinta between this short period. I don't think more and more all Gambians know what is happening in that country. This is what has changed significantly that will warrant Mama Katai join. Maybe it's a personal interest. Ako is the interest of the nation. But so neo generalized dorong, maybe I tell interest and not the interest of the general Gambians. So variable Seattle Meli Alongo, ibe GDC la aning NPP la nyang alliance affect la one. Mama is not gonna guarantee GDC go. Yes, mol bitale, but he cannot guarantee go atela mol bele bitale because even within the executive, nga dol jele wol we ko wol resign the Facebook post nga menje ko wol nga MC Cham jele anin dole selfita ako wol join the unite. So mang like an official statement from those people also, but I saw those snippets. Obviously, Omar Sise, me alonko GDP la baramala, he's not going to be a party to that. Now, Niwo Mumewe caring, other members of GDC, I don't see them joining Mama. So those are factors that is going to affect in terms of election outcomes by numbers. Now, Baro Fanam Fota Mol Mela officially, Mojamal Lebotaji. Well, Kono Keba Madi Bojam Bijele, Mali Kamara Bijele. Keba Madi found to me is the biggest factor here. Keba Madi Mol Sotole. In Jambur and within Kombo South. Kombo South is one of our biggest constituencies in the Gambia. It consistently told Serkunda West, Serkunda East, Karadi, Buzumbale areas. It told the population see at the back at Kombo South. So Nina the Yeo Jube, Molmen Bota or Mafangola, Woliana bo NPP, like Keba Madiana bo NPP, what effect in Wobe Warla back on NPP. So that's why Nkafo Baro could get as much as he lost. But then, well, factual be BG, you look at the status quo of the country, whether we are happy with things. I think all travelers, including myself, are actually not happy with the security port fee. And security port fee, for example, government can do something about it, but man think. Mayo ko dimina warafang walen ko aliu. Fuaro like $1,000 joe upon exit and arrival, upon departure and arrival. Bari, mele alon fembeable will buka joe. I don't think ministers pay. Even the president doesn't pay. The president is the highest honor in the country. He does not pay taxes. He does not pay security fee or security port fee. If that is the name on surface, yes. But if that is a security concern issue, and a high security sort of in the country, highest salary, but I buka joe. What for what reason? Ndol me along come back fence or karam to dingola and indoba dingola and so many average class well can every time ibo kodo joka. So this kind of discrepancies and unfair treatments all that could go against the current regime. Abi malal the hikes in prices. Government matter finger ke ngalo is a free market economy. Mo ma for na ya for no price based and by force at all. We know because subsidies can be given. They do say, of course, a subsidies dealer. But if you look at other activities like buying these big cars and Prados that cost about millions and millions and millions of dollars, those could have gone to better the lives of common Gambians. If you look at all the, but if you are the leading party in the country and you care for the country, and most of these funds, whether Mole Swala or so on, if we have seen you invested them into common Gambians, and so on, health sector, there is so many variables, almost all variables will go against the incumbent. We take it seriously at heart. So much is against them. And even Mama Lataji, I don't see that saving them. And obviously, Gambians will have the final say when we get.
So this guy is asking about the 2022 GDC's parliamentary election voters. There's a decline in it. I mean, last year, touch the money, then I move IEC that side because time of 20 minutes at the GDC, it performed back in 2017 presidential, in parliamentary election. They were able
for
to secure
2022 for parliamentary election.
2022 parliamentary election. Because 2021 presidential election and then 2022. I believe it's 2020. 2022. 2022 April. We have a parliamentary election and then they lost all their seats. So I don't know whether you have available data for that. If you don't,
yes. I previous I just 1 second. Let me bring it up. No, but for 2023, parliamentary. Okay, 2022 parliamentary election. Then 2023 the mayoral Fengonian.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, 1 second. Let me bring that up. Yeah, but then obviously, what is for certain? There was a decline for one thing. So there was a decline in that, and we generally spoke about Marana Jalo online already made that clear. Kafoko, 1 second. Abafoka neko GDC performance in that wasn't that good. So okay, I have the votes here. In candidates we have a couple of them here. GDC, let me see, where did they win? This one, GDC. Not seen GDC yet.
I believe they have lost votes, but I just want to know the performance.
GDC did not win anything. Where they participated, one of the places, Brikama North, GDC was there, but UDP won that. Brikama South, UDP won that. Comba South, UDP won that. Busumbala, independent won that. But Yaro won out through a UDP Fankola, what is the name again? The police guy. Kande, Demba. Kande, right? So UDP won that. All you knew NPP they won, and GDC was there. And then if you go to Sanementare, there UDP they Sanementare win. There was no GDC in that. UDP they Sanementare win. If you go to Combo East, UDP won Combo East. Fonyi Binta was an independent candidate. That's the APRT Noto Alliance. If you go to Fonyi Kansala, independent la win. You understand that is the same APRT Noto Alliance. Fonyi Bondali independent la win. Fonyi Berefet independent la win. Jarol independent la win. Narakunda Sabji UDP won that. So wherever GDC participated, for example, in Serakunda West, UDP out of an win. Serakunda itself ngalo is Doyle water, right? So there's no GDC. GDC participated in Josuang as well, but APRC won that. I think the Fabakari Franco out. Then you go to Bakau, NPP, UDP, okay, UDP auto win. So GDC did not win anything.
Yeah,
Yes.
they did not win any seat, but I want to know their performance. Want to know
Well, what
some.
is the performance again? You did not win any seat. What performance are we talking about? The numbers will be very minimal. The quantity distribution is between NPP and UDP. I think UDP actually got popular votes in those phone call. They got the popular votes. Then you could see that. So 2021, Barona 400 and something thousand. But then out of such a span, within, I will say, just a year after, you lost popular votes.
No, it's less than, yeah, just 4 months after.
Well, we can relate that to IC factors. Maybe, maybe not, maybe not. I'll wait for your question before I take on those issues. So, yeah, we can switch to Ngal on time of Bitaka and the moderator. So, we
Yeah,
take
so
this from
so now na dun ko min fano ka kumada bage wala mun near independent electoral commission. Kujima kede la fanala, but I don't want to also delve into that. I just want also to focus on numbers. Near IAC ko double registration or kede la atara of almost 24,000. Tuva kabinte nyumwe I couldn't get it. As a data scientist, kabiya mo ko double registration or kede no. What comes to your mind with regards to validation and stuff like that?
So, okay, first and foremost, double registrations could have been avoided, right? It could have been avoided because IC already have, and without a robust system, when I say robust system here, I meant IC already have 2021 registration, and the 2021 registrations are valid for 2026. Now, Nimmo not to register, you ask them a question whether they are renewing what they have in 2021 because Dolka Wakele, right? They go on to renew, but people were told that was not necessary because Barniela voters card lost. Maybe I must say, oh, registered like 2021, but not. So mostly, I think someone said and they just print out. So they print out the previous 1 year dealer. Then just so you have your voters card back. So that will stop the registration at that point because one register, one other renewals there. Now, if you already have the data back, now you know that when registrations happen, you should be able to know those who registered at the same fingerprint, the same name, the same date of birth, and all records remain the same. Once the fingerprint were not at the same draw and the names and everything, then that will be double registration. You can even tell the person, have you registered before? Or even like during the course of question and answer, you can ask the person whether they are new participants or not. I think double registrations could have been avoided at all cost. What was actually more alarming is not just the double registration, it's the discrepancies in numbers. Mayalonko, the opposition parties went on to race. And I will say it here. Right now, among IEC publication in terms of breaking down the numbers, what went amiss and what they announced and so on. But I will take reference to the press conference that UDP did. I jot down the numbers that they were talking about. And then other political parties later went on if they will make submissions to the revising courts. But UDP now online and there are people Mamadi Kurang and so many other people, and of course Dr. Lami Mane spoke about it. And then it had a press conference for them to talk about. What they said was IEC announced to them at the conference center 212,095 supplementary registrations within April to some within the time frame from April, I think 45 days registration period. Now Kabiru Wakeda, obviously after that has been announced to political parties, then IEC later shared data of the supplementary registration to political parties. But according to UDP's pressure, only 179,445 data points Yawale dealer, making a difference of 32,650 wale tutakoma. Now, IEC, you reported this in the register, and then the political parties were able to confirm that because you began from day one. They followed everything, all registration processes. Jale registered at Jambi, Jale registered at the end of the day, who were the people there, objections, they noted down, the minus.com, and so on. But the numbers were well taken care of. Now they confirm ko yen number men announce ye wole sobe, but then you provided them a list of your final registration and it was short. It fell short by 32,650. Any other, it fell short by one. That one person could be enough to make a difference at the polls in 2026. Much more 32,000. If you remember, in 2021, or rather in 2016, the vote difference, remember ñunul tema. Remember, what is the name again? Remember Baroning, remember coalition tema and Ya Jambe at the time. Minus 1 second. Was only 19,221 votes. Allez. The vote difference, the difference that made Barrow president in 2016 was only
19,000.
19,221 votes. 19,221 votes was the margin. If you add that to Jambe's vote, they will tie. Now, 19,222 votes would have been a +1 difference, but the tie would have been a 19,221, that difference. Now, imagine if there is a difference of 32,650. So 32,650 is what has not been reported. But then I read Standard newspaper. IEC did admit to the omissions. However, they admit and say it was admitted that there were omissions of that. But then, according to UDP press again, 3,713 were later added again to the list that was initially given. After that addition, it gave them a total. I think what was written, we can do the math. I think what was written, what I've seen was 183,163. But you just have to add the 3713 to the initial 179,445. That had happened, right? Now, if you do that addition, it still leaves a gap of 28,932 out. You understand? That's still unaccounted for. Then IEC later claims 14,334 should be deducted, I believe, because of the double registration. Even after that deduction, there is still 14,598 unaccounted for. Now, where these numbers went amiss, I don't know. Could it have been avoided? Obviously, it could have been avoided. Number one, if you print out something from your computer before you buy Sambala and paste it in public to confirm in this constituency, these are the supplementary registrations that were made. You must be able to verify. That is just courtesy call. There is no, you don't have to be a scientist or a mathematician or an accountant or economist or whatever appellations fit such definitions to do that. You have to know this constituency, these are the people. And can we confirm on paper before we go and paste? Because you know for certain, when you paste, people will come and critique it. Why won't you run away from that? An institution that people have questioned its integrity and credibility and competency over time. People more question about the new dispensation that is at IEC, the new administration ought to have stopped that. And they have been doing a great work. But in this circumstance, they fell short of this. Now, Nina, you print out Yasamba. You still go and put that in public. Now, more nada yaji, Yara fang Paul Ningi Mankitan. But even now, no, opposition parties by propaganda, woman sort of, then people who have doubted, Mama de Kura, UDP, other parties find it, but IEC woman sort of. Now we don't know who will be speaking the truth. But as soon as IEC admitted to the omissions, right, now we all know what the opposition will come in for. By referee, it will found hard to nyale, omissions scale. Now they validated everything that the oppositions have been saying, especially the UDP. Now go back to it again. This thing that you omit before you paste, this is my way. If I were at the IEC, what we would have done is let's communicate to the political parties, the incumbent, the opposition. Now for your call, hey, right now we gave you 212,095 for your call. These are the supplementary registrations in Minnesota. However, because of the double registration, we are going to subtract those who registered double. Because at the end of the day, it's either the law takes its effect. I don't know what is the IAC mandate in terms of double registration. You can stop double registrants from voting. Maybe they can do that. Or, near that, mistake or model 2021 were registered on Inada. Just give them new phone call. Like, 2020 registered, okay, we are going to take away your 2020 registration and give you the 2020 registration so that there is no double registration in that. You make all that clarity to the political parties. All the political parties here for you. And the omission CPML can communicate in advance and tell them we are omitting these numbers for these reasons. However, if you need the list that where we have the omissions or the difference, come and get the difference from us. But now we cannot put these numbers up at the constituency level because we believe they are first and foremost not supposed to be there, at least for the time being. Then later until Aliala final course whether these people it could have been a mistake where you registered at 2021, you go back and register in 2026. Instead of telling them, I just want to renew, you are registering first. But those who registered twice in 2026, I think those people need to be punished. That's not an excuse. You cannot be registered twice in 2026. But need registered at 2021, in a registered at 2020, maybe you want to renew and then you made a mistake and you want a lot of voters card. They can take leniency with those people. But all these things could have been communicated. When they are communicated, no political party will be in doubt. Another question before you come in. Molko, was it deliberate from IEC? Because we've spoken about this from 1996 and counting with the exception of 2021. Maybe, but Nina, the total ballot cast at constituency level, the individual voter different irrespective of the votes that they call invalid votes, these numbers don't match. Could this have been a foul play from IEC from the beginning, and that is why opposition parties never won in the country? Could it have been? I don't know. But now that political parties, opposition parties took it upon themselves to go and follow every step of the way, registration day by day, up to 45 days, center by center, time by time, passing by passing, they follow everything to its single most atom. Now, you are part of the activity. You are part of everything. Now, no one can cheat you. Because it confirmed at the time. We have all our records. Sign. Now, few days down the line, you go and change the status code. You go and manipulate the data. Whether it's manipulated deliberately, they are incompetent, it was deliberate, they don't even know what they are doing. People have different definitions towards them. But I know for a fact, they've been trying their best. But maybe their best is not good enough. So this could throw the country into chaos in 2026. They just have to be careful going forward. I don't really know what they are going to do. Gambia have a lot of talented people. We have a university. We just don't have a national university. We have private universities in this country. We have brilliant minds at all levels who are graduating from this university. If there are IT tech people who learn IT, there are people who learn economics, there are people who learn accounting, there are people who learn mathematics, and so many other technical areas. You couldn't bring in your minds to help you or even consult Gambians outside. I'm ready at any capacity to go and help because I think these things are easily available. There are some, even we have a statistics bureau. I know among Gibos la mandate to IIC logo, okay, but maybe they can be consulted. I don't know. We have so many technical areas in the country. Why can't something as costly as election, something even where if an institution makes some mistakes, you give us a president maybe whom the people have not voted for? I think it's about time that IEC hopefully gives us fair results, an election outcome where the winner of that election is decided by those who vote and not those who can't vote. Thank you.
That's incredible. But Usman, in Then Usman, I have one more question to her.
Welcome on board.
Thank you. Go.
Announcement you have joined United Democratic Party. Congratulations. But we will come to that.
Thank you.
And I'll have another special edition with you tomorrow, inshallah. So
inshallah.
I want to show your opinion with regards to this double registration. IEC, they are trying to insinuate that we don't have time to prosecute this individual. But their previous statement was, Ibamul prosecutor Molmianoko, they deliberately registered twice or 3 times. And Lamin Mani in other vein of United Democratic Party. Molmialonko, it double registration like at the same polling station. What is all understand no at some degree. It's no system failure, ID card, forest card printed twice. But Molmianoko registered at different polling station. Molmianoko registered with different names. Molmianoko they've registered 2 different constituencies. Those people should be prosecuted. Even though it's going to take us another month to post the election. What's your take on that?
Well, my take on that is twofold. One, those people should just be honest with themselves and not have done it. 2, I believe they should be prosecuted. I think they should be prosecuted at all costs. because I believe that is very, very deliberate, trying to sway votes into an area. Because why would you do that? What kind of intention is that? Number three, I believe IEC should now going forward should be able to stop that themselves. When if you are already registered once, you should not have the ability to register again. Okay, they should have the system should be synced across, but also you can look at it network factors. To sync a system, it has to be wired. It has to be connected to an internet. You cannot do an on-prem system. It was single. It a laptop or not connected to. We are not working on the same page. We are not synced to the same seed and so on. Need a fence on a seed that is live. I will see it right, but near fence on-prem on your end. I write on my own on-prem. I can't see it. I wouldn't know. So we make the system robust to a point even a daily syncing never live syncing mankeno. But by the time that election closes, there must have been people paid who are technicians to be able to sync all the system so that they can match fingerprints, they can match names and date of birth and everything. These ones will register at a double. That issue should be dealt with immediately. You understand? So, but yeah, on the network, na MBPS from like network level running in fan, the network capacity, I mean, so the network speed. Gambia Mansia, we have few network providers, QCell, the Q group family, and then also the communes and the officials. Ila network capacity more stronger. Starlink is in there, but I believe it's blocked by a businessman. Wala na Gambia adopt no formally. Molka useless on the ground, or here and there. Dolka Asabanam from Senegal, ya Dundila Larandakodo, and so on. But then Molba use we need good internet. If QCell, official, commune, and whoever service providers are there, want to compete, let them give us good internet speed so that the country can benefit from that, but then obviously the kickbacks and so on, hopefully that is not the case, but then but we need better internet for IZ even to perform at the standard that we are expecting them to. Without internet, without syncing the systems, without a system is robust, these mistakes might continue to happen, but they should put measures in place. If the technology can't work, then they have to have people manually on standby. They have to get rid of it. So for me, there's no compromise.
So I mean, just last question on this part. Jambi Usman Kam. Yeah, kuma for Jamiano is very scary. Jambi, coalition of Jambi Bude 19,000, couple 200 votes, something like that. And then now near the commission of GBS almost 20,000 plus. Near the double registration of GBS 20,000 plus. Bro, what does this tell you about Niaka UDP manning ko follow to the ladder? What could have happened?
So in an election cycle, things could be tight, right? It can only be as a is a difference in an odam. Call se fatan odam is just a few margins. Another 5, 10, 20 votes or a few thousand here and there. I will not foresee going forward the margin that came like Baroning the second highest thing because Barrow won 53.something% of the votes, like absolute majority in 2021. If you add the rest of the oppositions, at least it. I could have never believed that was going to happen in Gambia. I know for certain he can win. Anyone can win. But that an incumbent who came newly at that time will beat UDP plus DOI plus SFL plus NUP plus Mama Kande. All of those people combined, the incumbent beat to such a huge number. And now, obviously, in 2021, registration doubts begin. I've actually looked at that registration data. There were registrations as at the deadline. There were registrations that happened. At least as far as the system outcome is concerned, even at hours, they were a little bit odd. You understand? So, could there have been issues like this before? Maybe. Who knows? But signing, I think it, and you have to commend the opposition parties, especially the UDP, for the work that they have done to follow every step of the way. That is the only thing. Oh, okay, after registration or alta, nimambula nungal noma, ngadakorko. Bari, Alba Kambele, the government, the opposition, the incumbent, and all other stakeholders, and the citizens at large, election beke Kambele. What say? Okay, say na katawala, ngabla no man be ngata ngajuba ka kanyame. Na le men safe ngasafe, fotana le hani tanade yoal nangata. Ntar. Ali asafe ngasafe. Nintilo bweta. Hey, ali ni safe nunde. Wale mba ha hamfane wala sor. Sa nga d'accord wa bela mbareta sa kuol banda na dango ale jele soro wil keme fula wil tanim fula anin talul sorry tankono toni lul ale wol so 212,095 right oh yeah ale wol so hanga wol so ale wol anazio okay yo not pareta also listo samanyana okay sama sinindi yo leo political parties listo fele ta listo nara nkana aje ko men tada fo wil tan sabanin fula keme woro anin talul wo be tiji wo mankita ngani nin karo ke ina da ye wili saba keme warula nin tanin saba ye wala fana ye ko nyeko nyindo fel al wala faje ngawla faje but even ngawla faje wili mo wili say tan konon do tan saba nin fula 932 wo be mankita nada ko danke alko ko oh no wil tanin nani tan saba nin nani wolle ngawle omit because wol mu double register wol register tala twice nada fo ha bar anal yo okay but wil tanin nani keme lulu tan konon do nin sey wo be to komale sa wo be nyaadi so the fact that IEC admitted to an omission without foretelling it, without communicating it prior, now that you communicate we are omitting these numbers for this reason. Now anyone meant that to make another diameter blah 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 or sifal because IEC diameter already said we are going to omit these numbers for now, but later we will supplement. But to me, even if you say that, it is only better you finalize the list before you can publish it. Don't do 2 publications. Finalize your list before you can publish it. But what was wrong with those who posted the list from the IEC offices? What stopped them from verifying it before you actually pass it in public? What stopped them from verifying it? Mbadi, ani lete men safe. Jani bita ya pass ibe job application na ni aprendi kari na follow fay. Instead I have hey jam mistake da later ya reprint correct. You cannot print something of that sensitive nature that could send the country into chaos. It da yo ke bandabar. Iko ko wala. Then later you go and admit ko tonya bolo table. Yeah, must that.
It's funny, you know. Oh, so in Mbarabak, like I said, tomorrow we're gonna have a special edition whereby we'll discuss in depth about your move to United Democratic Party and the issues related to the work that you are doing in the Gambia recently. But then Usman, I just wanted to pick it up where two bar stops. Ila party, United Democratic Party, now IC Sambakan court with regards to registration process of they believe that an institutional manta, ila revising court. But I is learning on the limited time. Karim, what's your take on that? Covering United Democratic Party has took on this matter head on. What commendation would you actually do to your party in this regard?
Barakabaki, Honorable Aliu Job, kay Karamo, Terima Tuwangi Holantentu, and Dr. Malmo, ibe mun Karamo leti, Kakaran Jamala cable, what need diameter and Kafensu and Kamen Karano. Nindi amol men nata men be sabata jang kuluke jabiro ke follow ela kuma kamala nte kunno sama be kachala bakele me atina nata UDP but ndeni te famo me daka kacha duma bakele nka political ko kacha gambela ko kara men mi yaron ka buka finti santo ando meta kiskiro kala bakele political party lumbe gambia fo dol fo yangere nyen la fakata la dol la to ko se kaje social media wa dol nka kenya me la ko kan so brim findita kata UDP ay jamale tereng because imoji bari sama be duno kono baake bar follow kan party leader honorable Usainu Dabo ka attentu ka jayi anen ka duwaye sima yala anen jata kende ya ay ngani women so do gambe alama alayo kayem be nyin election men walinkan December alama alaya kanye hana tari jawol be fere jawol be lande kanne pour ka atinna ala kanyo kanaki Mena executive hol tentula na katalale na dokula balu meni smolo kaje ko IEC imedata pale ya men men siata sanji tansabati ka lankene mandi Gambia dini beyaje Tonya ante kundo 2011 nga presiding officer akele because nene mala ko president Jammeh boka election o suna wot nga bringa presiding officer ake banjule polling station to mboldo je nga moy jele mel na raka carte fay nte fon lata ni ala tema ko isiyo man sanji tanen sarosi je nga moy di jele me ya lonko nsikata ele Gambia di yala bare kafu comme carte fay lu wala carte ko sunya o man soto wolo nen lata nyin ko nganya conclude that was my first and last time nga presiding officer because I did it out of curiosity lafta ka lonne aka Kenya di election ka kenyame bar control nin kudol be mol kam mem be fo ka fe ka carte bo do leta ka jurme dol ta ko be man sabari toñante karto ka suña registration watole IEC etelle nim man samen be siring brin 1996 foka na 2021 kan fo mbetom mi ko no science ne supplementary registration no men keta etelle ni ben ka kafunyo kan e kan na karto suña e ka gambia dingol la wilni ka tay ka bali e ka mol dundi e ka register signa fula wala signa sa ka dingol registrandi e ka luntangol registrandi o ka tinano e ka kanye United Democratic Party ya tinano wala fintete Gambia dingol beaja senata signa kilinte signa fulate signa sabate IC ka finti pour que lafi pour que law bandial yo tapale yala pour ka ayitani mo la ka fo comme hani mistake ko dem ibuka keno because munem ikakele intentionally adu ni man sa kundala ka doko ke pour kaningi ngo tuba ya men foja wala sabatita IEC man lafi ka systemo dada me ya lonko abe tekiro kela andung abe fungol be sutela mengde dending registration because it tapale yalla meti andi ka tapale yalla ke bari tol kliwo kilim man sa kunda memme siri ka kodole dila e ke la family balundu wala e ke la kolka wala kono ana tare banku dingol bebe sasala ana tare banku dingol bebe fola jaral kendola ana tare banku dingol bebe fola karan sobola ana tare banku dingol le bolo kole yalla le ila problem to woti banku din kurmal le molti me alon kebe IEC ani melka kafu nyoka kanyin tapale yake because jine sabatit IEC nde ngado ko ke development organization dol ko international development organization ngado ko ke dula jamal to nde ngalon ne wol kilo kilini IEC ka do ko ke nyame Another IEC left the best standard system wala me alon ko it will be rich proof iba sotlale from this with support from these development partners newsletter internet lele dawo da these development partners will make sure we also talk mananta ka Kenya but men sabar to nyabe dame IEC le mutapale woti imalla fi mo kendela membina la kanyin system mo suute andu imalla system wala me a lonko abenin kuol be di technology be suute no lay baale la kon tapale akana ke because tapale ka wala ke pour ka banko dingol ila carton nyinta ka sunye bulu kamo tambe ni to lafta men so fonse UDP leader supportant wala because imansi birul lumen supplementary resource ko maseta fa banto lumen tundu tuje dinkra tije place tije iba moki damen ka safero ke ka fungol beta ka be ka funyo kan kom tubaya fo nyamen kaje ko be kilin la soto man fatanyo la handula kilinto abe kanantele bari wo kola nataje le ko me tapale yal menke coming to 2021 election tubaya men fo jaw wala sabatita ndebe nung NPP nketo la sympathize no but I have this information clear information IEC ka mod register suto wat mi alon ko registration watol tameta and wol mu ikam ya wol mu mollet mi alon ko ale NPP supporter sol lemiti iketa ke register at odd hours ikam mod dol register minister la kordal ko at odd hours so independent mala benin IEC kono it is high time nga IEC nge expose mol nge fintindi nge lankene mandi mol beaje be kuriya mena sanji tan saba komanto andu kuriya kile woni man singolo ibole ke lañina fanam barin tol banko dingol paretal IEC ye la moy nabake paretal me fintile kamale ila banko diya man tammin to la banko diya la bari in fact to la banko diya kendo le sabate to la banko diya kurmoti bari telmbala ay bole ke ka han sign e ma proof no mole kom ni menketa gule me ya longa manyana kala andu correct data hansa o mannano anda senano le but they are conniving with the incumbent, they are conniving with the government, they are conniving with the NPP and their leadership to ensure that they subvert the will of Gambian people for this incompetent, inefficient and corrupt government.
It's so touching. It's so touching. Personally, as somebody me and doing computer science, kabinda nyaje ko they cannot actually detect, double registration. I mean, I couldn't actually get it because there are all avenues. There are all mechanisms that they can actually employ. Pulkajako is a new vendor nyami if they are really ready to do it. Facial recognition or bijele niara jibe fingerprinting bijele pulkajako move motina register twice. But ko Dr. Lamin Mania for nyami. I mean, momi an ko register different police station home tilimbali and IEC trying to hide behind the time, telling Gambia that we don't have time, Purga the court prosecute, because in the last press conference, Jokoli Olafonu, but Lamin of UDP insisted. He said even if it's going to take us longer, they don't care. These people has to be prosecuted. Purga Joko Kamol election integrity to uphold election integrity. But now, let's say in Ngala Kumakina, Janima moves to Wakam. Ita bora Jimara constituency. President Boro bora Jimara constituency. Mama Kande as well. What on in Jimara? I mean, Mama Kande kera modi me anako ala para President Boro ka mojimal ko Mama Kande ala support el baby kara President Boro kane from Jimara and you are at large. What's your take on that?
Abarka bake Honorable Ali Job. Okay, legend in Carola. Well, Mama Kande kunkilong le saunta ani mo dantang. Ke haklo bulandi. Wari tambita am kardantan tambita. Jimara NPP. This word, how do you call it? Julangel ward ila NPP chairman Ibrahima Balde. I resigned from NPP from his leadership as the chairman of NPP Julangel ward to join GDC. And I diamol nata I diamol ke I diamol fintindi because munem nko ndol mem fongo benum NPP jama ba ben kono bantar contendre banko katam mantar contendre baro ala tamandiri nyala mantar contendre banko be ya nyaki kamben bari ninda ton korita na de kom nda fali nola nze min keno wala mka wakoto kata kafu mola njikita mense banko fali no wo kilin wala be jimara hane bi bari me kuma kilin fole jimara bi ani jimara kunu man clear jimaran kol pareta le ka banko fasa ka tonya fasa adun ka banko kanandi ka tanka maral jawala ka tanka jamfala ka tanka tinyaro la me yalon ko bintol be bola kono so wati me yalon ko nyin mama be move kan ana la executive wala central committee e ma kala muta e ka lo gol to ko ma kunkili wala ate bayla ni mo dan tambitala war mol me yalon ko wala banko le kanu GDC kono wol sabati tale and wol koyti tal nde kundi woni mol diyam tale men yalo ngi jimra ando GDC la support ak balle miti doliye kalinye konye ko ndemu fulolti bari mamma mo support fulale nga support because nga men jiki wala kom abeto nyale kan ala ka banko le fasa ala sa pour ka banko le kanandi nakata president wati pour ñu maral kuno bebe membe je ay nga tankala adu mama witandil
We discuss more on the Ibo safe. Put some
yeah, I will save that.
More on that. Let me come to Tuba.
I will save that.
I should release Tuba. Let me come to him, then I'll come back to you. Tuba, I mean, United Democratic Party, common demanding covering registration process of hearing. Get a more me and no see if a Tamakan constituency upon constituency registration center upon registration center. Purka Jako election registration person in Kanoma, not only to take data or registration numbers, but of course to review and refuse. I know register me okay, manke banku diwan. Even though it was a very difficult thing to do, Purka Jaka moji bere ka fa manke banku diwan, but UDP has taken that sacrifice. Purka Jako kanyin ko nyin kalo ka volunteera anyato during the registration process. After the registration, Najako they are the only political party. They have held a press conference Purka Jako Kamasakunda Kaka Independent Electoral Commission case Samba Kidi Moro Purka Jako ila manyal min kenya raji be registration wato nyuko Purka ko in ka contest to the High Court of the Gambia. What is your assessment about the whole process UDP and Yimin Tamani cabinet registration for signing?
Well, maybe if UDP hadn't taken the steps, Purukata to follow the registration from the first day to the very end and follow every aspect of it, all details of it, maybe in Tinata running conversation. To be honest, other political parties now more ko itul fana yakare. But I did not see them coming a number bondi for tenant. So I will only talk with reference to the UDP's activity, and of course, the question bell are welcome. So Nima Kenu, y'all on a very well call. This coalition talk I some sort of distraction someone, but UDP were not distracted. They were still keeping an eye on the activities of IEC. Neither than yin pasting, for example, lista the supplementary registrations itare ya PS bandabado ndenga mo kolle ya nda register you numle mbesteri word ngaya ko ta bandabado ta lubato registration number fengol be dame yen to jube fo be njala je ata je anata ko nyoko ngeji je kabra ko nyeji anata le fang asen nyana I could see not just me because I think they are arranging things in some sort of order so ngamol di different long and so on so akonye ko ebije but then that person cannot even confirm to me the numbers that were registered there because only political parties will lay that in-depth data in sort of kalongo is it consistency we know the total that has been announced but we don't know the petitions like momo ejele sort of so political party also so they can always do a cross check. So it was very important UDP or step ta. But akana to step ta dambala. I think nakalamuta road. This is the what follow the men along UDP went extra miles. They always do background checks because now 2021 menketa kabelo registration of bantale your data ta investigate. But now before you investigate someone's outcomes, it is better for you to be part of the process. Like an already processed outcome, you investigate. But now be part of actually the pre-processing. Everything, the production up to the end. No one will tell you how to process the outcome because at tabiro keta albilenyal. You know, moment tabiro kaya pare adila fo yanene. Kabrigada marse to mbelta. Indawlo dila nyala le. Mbelta men santa nyala. You know, marse be nyame mbenga kalamta. So nin tabiro na takata mbelo rinje. Sa tabiro bada ye duranta be ka fo nyoko bar nyinche bo diara mba fre ba manke chebo te ko moro. So it was that easy. So UDP or process now the legal the due process is taking place. So they are following the due process that is kata revising courts. Yalo ni aje bafla mo minor moro. Sometimes it's a mo sudundoje ya fa ko he ite di numero waro mu kebal. But ni mo fangolo ni kebaje ka osudel. But yalo ni aje bafla mo minor kay do latine ka. Nindi ni wona te bo lona, right? A video even IEC officials intercepted by telling people, no, you are underage. They come with parents and so many other people from other political parties. No, where is the papers? So it cannot defend no. Because I spoke to an IEC official, it was random because no more is all right from Brikama. How was it really experience? To a point, we mutakande. Any false documents kana because dol kamenke is sobeta nyimu dino bana ko ma o modol la kayro na you understand so nanu wala kayro na present ya nyininka ya lo moment na la barsat gena de kay ko te wuluta lu njumale comme ya ngal la parents so wakata tol fo fa me alonko is in conflict to the document that has been presented then you start doubting then amari panic akoy ko nyim fam manken de la kayro de karela tam you know the official told me that. So how could these things be happening? So it was only right that UDP and other people, you know, other observants, even APP Sobia, Yela representative skill in there, and then now the due process let the law takes its course. Unkana tara maslaha situation. Okay, say you know mutale double registration, and it was clear they should be prosecuted or they should be stopped from voting. Then what is the exercise again? It becomes futile. So the law should take its course. But it is very important now going forward, all political parties will be interested to follow the due process from registrations to counting and so on. Because so this election will be different. Previously, any election I'm sure all parties will send in the final candidates, all representatives will send in their observers. The observer data, Menketa counter write it at that spot. IAC announce send it to your people, and they are going to announce it. To me, IAC should adopt a system of once confirmed, it should be announced and it should be official. Once confirmed, without delay. Before Ularo or Suokuda, before the following day, obviously the political parties will already know because your observer yeah, whatever the polling agents rather, if they are serious, everything be a tally. And if you have a robust system, it's very easy for you to know. Just all the total just they will put it in that system. By the end of the day, even towards 50% of activity, especially if you cover the big constituencies, the Komba South, the Serkunda is the West, Busumbala area, near Busana, then you need after president or symbol. Now, but dulal mel warta alta fawaya nalta fawaya naman kuma auto butumo kay wo ngalo wo time e sefa banko de yebilbil oppositional fana na sembobe dame ni bota like bota west coast kono bota km kono nyaje oppositional e kuma woto most likely person. So you can study a lot of trends. But going back to your question, UDP has done a tremendous job following all the processes, and it's important. To me, Keba the registration and investigate the data. Last time and obviously we found a lot of discrepancies of night registration or about registrations that were written outside the deadline. But whether the activity in itself has happened outside the level, but at least the outcome of what was shown on that data was outside the deadline, that cannot be disputed. So yeah, kudos to UDP for doing that, and I'm sure not just them. I hope Melialonke market, kudos to them as well. Melialonke market going forward. If you have a stake and interest in election at every level, follow all the due process because now banda motafla moy ko yen sunyal e fango be men kon e man men kalam de be sire le bungone announcement ko ko fo malla bar fango me yalon ko e fango ya follow le to the very end motafla moy ko janira fari be toro kela yalo mbe kalo ne menke. So what be jere. So I think this initiative and this activity is very important, and I would encourage all parties to be doing that going forward.
UDP has withdrawn from the coalition talk. They back their argument with numbers, equated numbers to all the opposition parties. Covering UDP back up from the coalition conversation. I mean, what was your take on that? Did you see that happening? Because UDP wanted candidate led or party led.
Yes, I saw it happening. I wasn't surprised at all. They left. Anybody UDP, I would have left. For example, if like telling Gakulebe coalition talk, I'm telling 200 and something thousand, and I've been the consistent performer by more for over 30 years or over maybe 6 periods of election or 5 periods or even more. Nka National Assembly swipe, nka LGA sort of. Ete kana enila community football team, gaku kana anala village development committee. Alcohol bente compete la. Nta kajala fa. I'm not even going to take it. The respect, the appreciation, the admiration will remain, but politically, I've put in more resources kiji jaman. So you cannot dispute the fact of numbers. What about dispute no? So it was only fair UDP left. But say, ibaro na ndabe na ko numbers are important. Kabri UDP tar mama candidate muna na say because obviously kabri UDP tar mama tar say what is the point? Yeah, UDP la bo coalition I crippled mama tar I coalition of fat. Now remember to now coalition of substance would have been with a UDP. Coalition of a kind of a substance would have been with a mama. But without that, we only have, for me, a mere coalition. Now, Ngalong, Malik, Keba Madi most likely looks in the direction ko UDP Abole endosla, if not already. Ibrahim Tabora Mane looks in that direction, Malo Minabinakela, but most likely a PPP, okay, one thing, the Golden Era Party, Segunala Mall, they are behind UDP. Malik Kamara for ADD Lemba will wear for the plain the last and general program they are endorsing UDP. So now ngamira will be nakala. Men see at Alkafu Walma, you can negotiate few things here and there internally, but to me it is only fair ko Nina Mulsiati. Yeah, later see that they have her, but the things could have changed. But for UDP, I don't see anything that have changed. Not much have changed. Their base has always been intact. Nothing really hard. But say more men will cover them that could actually also bump up their numbers. So it was only fair that they leave unless the coalition was going to be like, you have more, let's join forces if but Momi Alonko on a qualitative representation has more percentage than you. On a quantitative representation has more numbers than you. You understand? It's go in anyway see at an investment table, I'll be equal shares of the vote strategy. These stakeholders groups may they are not registered parties. Well, they are taking part in a coalition discussion and want equal share of votes. In the name of what? I don't see any substance in that, to be honest. So with all fairness to all parties and all respect to all parties and entities and stakeholders, my friend, you can only benefit as much as you put on the table. You can only benefit from as much as you put on the table. You can't put $5 on the table, then $2,000 you want us to have equal outcomes of the share. Unless it is a charitable organization. But naman Ale unte be bulala unte nyanda kata murado dol tangani.
Yes, yes. To the last question. Last question. Nene bidala. Yeah, kuma majamiano is very important. Mama Kande has moved to the incumbent. UDP has withdrawn from coalition, but still now, many are not in the coalition talk. What they still believe that they have something to present. They believe that they still have way to. They still believe that independent voters will actually vote for them. What's your reaction on that?
They believe they have a way to go. Yes, they have a way to go. They only have a way to go in circle. And if you move from the same point and come back to the same point, you might think that you have traveled a mile of maybe 100,000 miles. But my friend, in physics, we call it distance travel is zero. So, maybe you dal near call Jube right now. Mang United last strength long APPA Sobea, Mang APP, my APP last strength long, but Sobea last um, elections, yeah, 17,000 kind of less sort of. And if I want to be specific, I can tell you exactly. Isafal, when he participated as Sobea movement, 17,206 votes. I will sort of, right? Unite, man participate follow. NUP, under AGA Jame, 8,252. I will sort of nationally. 8,252 votes. I will say right. Now, 8,252 is only 1% of our electoral outcome. Only 1%. NUP will say no. Okay, obviously, Jedabo been a UDP, so Mosafon only Jedabo na sympathizer and his family and well wishers and so on. Ning Ayatara, Jedabo goes on to pass the nomination phase. Ne Ayatara man group do join. For example, ngala be some numbers sort of behind him. You understand it, right? But then at least it will compute, but United Man compute. So I knew Sabol Kono, it coalition. Jedab has so much quality in him. Ezafal has so much quality in him. Talib has served as 2 times mayor on the UDP ticket and believes he is developmentally oriented to be able to do something. All these people have what they believe can take them to the next level. You understand? But if you look at not only the merit of things, but even character-wise, Jedabo is such a man of principle. Man Londe, I know he has country at heart, but Malum Fabe Sonako, Abibulala Unite Le Noma after leaving UDP. Unite, Malon Ko, Mamirako, Fabitala Sonaka to rally behind APP, Sobia, and NUP after also leaving UDP because not believe momenti. Maybe I'm wrong. Ning Ayataranum, Talib had won or has succeeded as a UDP flag bearer when he applied for the primaries. Malla United Kube Sotolabi. Lada Ninaloko. Ning Ayatara, he will not go be a UDP flag bearer and still quit and form another party. Mawo Mira. So now you Bonanjana because the main goal at the time was presidency. Flag bearership, then presidency. So Nimo was sort of, because I listened to Talib's interview the day he was doing the submission. Yalong, there is media on the ground. He believes he can defeat Adam Barrow. He believes that. Now, maybe you answer, I would believe Babulu, but obviously at the time under a UDP ticket. But now that we unite, Momala strength along with that. Molte Wofulano. KM Abedamento, we've seen what happened, and KM mayoral election Bakar budget had 40-something-thousand votes, at a total of 56 or so, like around the end. So the margin wasn't that big like it happens in West Coast. Yankuba 77,000 sort of, the other person member Anoma 50 something sort of, but his margin was bigger than the margin between Taliban and Bakari Baji at the time. So near World Jube right now, it's going to be funny. Walat Nanko coalition to me is dead. That coalition is dead. Mona, we know they still talk. But Esam by fall, Wale Binakabla Unite, no, I don't see that. Maybe other people will come behind Unite if Unite ended up making across that line of IEC's nomination. We still have to go through the IEC nomination. And, so that line has to be passed. That run has to be made, and you have to reach 100%. Kakao line when you cross, then we will know. But as of now, I think the coalition talk. As far as that area is concerned, I think it's dead. UDP crippled it, Mama Kandef just, give it to the angel of death, and then the soul is gone.
Thank you so much, Chuba. Thank you for having you here. Kondanda back in Israel. Even though you'll be busy the back, but like you said, we'll be having the conversation around the election. We'll be talking about numbers. That is something I like about you. You don't talk about opinions or assumptions. In most cases,
opinion for because opinion, Momo opinion, right? So but nina ngwe ko carte ke nangam le soto jana, and you think you have ngwe ko, but after that ye nyine soto jana italata. These are the factors. If those things are written and clear, I'm only making things clear and just giving you the percentages and so on. That's not my opinion, right? But general commenting, momo sinano le mendiate ya. Democracy le kere momo mendiate ka. So if a million people say a million different things, whose do you take? So that's why I just base it on fact, just like we do in science. I'm a scientific commentator. I'm not like a general public commentator on public. I do it scientifically, and oftentimes in science, we base our conversation and submissions on facts and figures and numbers, and that is why I do it as such, just to save my head. Nzida no si bantabado, mo man kachano kataminde. Mfana nzida no si bantabado, ma would media tanyangao. I don't think it's gonna benefit anyone. So, anyways, thank you so much, Gahu. Good to have you. Ifana here, Ali. Ifana ya barakabake.
Before it Tuba, later follow. I just want to make these rectifications on what I earlier said about IC. When I'm talking about IC, I mean the leadership. Most of the leadership, IC fana mo kendol bijele me along ko e banko kanu andi ko e batil ne kan silora. All data nyim ko non kamen fo IC banko jawol leti mo kron levete dukare ni ikane fo jawala metol fo mbe mo lela ben be kuriyala je. Particularly the leadership, particularly
without
the
a doubt,
leadership.
they've been tremendously doing their best. I commend both the chairman and the vice from Okadabak and media, like interviews, grant, and so on and so forth. So that is very commendable. Though this part of numbers, name stain over the years, and also it will form a balance. If you meet IC and tell them I've seen these errors, if you're able to prove it a balance, if you just operate mistake, nobody will take that. If you can point out the specific errors, it's a balance, all right. They've been doing their best, but these errors to me could have been avoided. They did not avoid it, but we hope that it does not have any toll on the elections, and then hope that everything goes just like Memem Fokan. Carte file outcome. Now to carte file we hope the presidential outcome is decided by those who vote and not those who count the vote. Melka count what IEC. So it all mole memfa your count, but it cannot any say so in who win. So solo wakera drong obekela alhamdulillah na tini alazonda. Yo.
Sarodi janibida.
Nga sarodi le fom pareda nzavu mole dora alama aliyembe niosi December 2026 election na aike Cairo kono. I bank Cairo kono memu bankola best weke. Nde personally I am not even a believer in 2 terms. Ndeka ofole. I don't believe that anyone should be president for 2 terms. To me, 5 years is enough. Even 12 months is good enough, but you cannot do much. But 5 years is enough. If I ever become president, I think I will just do 4.5 years, I resign, and then elections can be done later so that they know I'm serious. But after 2 terms, I Nima Menkelo 10 years, I believe the president Kabana mole 3 years debate le ala mandati mani 5 years. Mbodaworo, ako he wants another mandate. He's been given. Another mandate again? What for? Man, how many million nebe o Bangkok? How many how many hundreds of thousands are qualified? Because before Barrow becomes president, ne Barrow Londi, Gambia Kewal Konombe, he might not be the first pick. He might not be the first pick. But then, if Barrow goes on to take us to where we are, good or bad, then any other person who is serious about his job should be able to do something better. Then we have different tastes, develop. Nina, just focus on something important. Security first and foremost, people's welfare. Well, they are important. More should be comfortable with their salary and it, and subsidies and so many other things. Agriculture promote. You focus on that. Now, road constructions, not even though we still have poor road conditions. I mean, silol ka mol be ma moro soto kata wo fly over do. Mol cool be during even dumaje and so on. Some afela nada. You've seen the floodings and so on. Ibrahima malato found ako joko banan kasamas. Well, yete fen solo ni kasamas ti ma joko na dunna. Understand? So focus on the legacy. Yewo timbandi ite buje post presidency ni akanyama diatale. You still have your security, you still have the respect, you can go out no more defenderele because you did your job. Those who serve and live honorably mo bikema. But ning kwal corrupt kodo tinyata your family is involved. Millions and millions went squandered. Molka fire on a sort of line. Sirinja kume for molbe amwe. And so on and so forth. You know, people are using everything within your government condescendingly to project you. Because the more you stay, the more you are muddying the waters. Jambe na atale soldiers of different 6 months. 6 months ended up being 22 years. Jambe ala kuel kele, school lotale, ala kuel kele, yalo, atekai, akatanya ala kumbe, every summer naka na school bela kapati. So kodo, akado domole, karam dino wol fon ke taso to jele. You know, yalo na woto kembeka na thousand also blanca pati kembeka na kuma. Na barata ta kay mo kilen so million la jana on the 20 ni fe mol be kala kolke so kodo me ngaka di akatu banko kanjele mostly and so on. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying at least those who are time only kada kanila fa ka content and so on stuff like that. So barata da 22 years ke cool tata tinyabul. Barona da sanji saba ndemo businessman ol timbi tala ngapa. Ako mbe mandati mandila sanji lul. Ako lefta do fana nga diala. Sayambutu ngo ako aba nyini la. So Jedal because I'm a man of one term. So if you do two, I can be a party to that. Thank you.
Thank you for having you. I'm gonna bring you back again very soon.
Inshallah.
We're gonna live in the studio. Me not come there.
Okay.
Us, that was Tuba over there. You know, he has took us a very, very long ride on Mama Kande number analysis, and you know, we are not going to Kachala Kula back, and for the IC, the final margin back, you know. So, what will be your time of friend Abanda? What will be your final remarks for today's conversation until tomorrow?
Yeah, aliu ke tentu ba ke jai watu wati ka program mol nati ka kachal nati min ka dem banko la kola ni banko la nyarota joteje so mu kuleti me alon ko fonse tentu la ngeje andun mol men fanan kela watul tay kana ka kafun kan jam pro kanyin do ko kendo ke fake tentu ke jai la mor lal fanan be gambia rin gambe bantala banku do ko lem aman sone ya fo mo bese da dun dije bari pour kasi koma ka fo nte sayen nte tankatale na family tankata obuka banko ta samba so o kamala ko mi fokal jay ba kal tentu kana mo la tentu ke jay tuba mashallah anen docteur la diamol bente ta kuta be duala rek fo mol bese na fasoro nyin kono andu mol fana pare nga memmoy nga bara akendo to me ngalon ko jawmalem nga jamfa walla bajalam be sena fasoto je duniya alkiyama because politiko amanke duniya da manti alkiyama kanyenen duniya la kono so ne te ko politiko kala fani alla e bakala tapale alla e bakala kuma ken sen folilla alon ko alkiyama e bola fanan tinya kam so kam makal tentu kal je fo sama inshallah nim ngana ben na kacha da fanondi
Inshallah, sama bakele kaja dima ba karandri. Mi Allah kon Usman Gano Basodula anen Silvo Baya Songo. Mbesa malna nyesa pure kaja ko ne kaja United Democratic Party. Tubal analysis amu fena de mi Allah ko mojimal baba do kan back from the opposition parties, you know, kara even government, you know, more be mi Allah ko kalma back because all of mi Allah ko is a specialist when it comes to numbers. And then it's not only mathematically, but Tuba, even when it comes to political analysis, he's very, very good in that. And that's why Mojamal Kalifi back Purkajana, Kasoda Kachayindo, Purkajana Kacha, you know, in political analysis, and of course, when it comes to other areas of data as well. So when I'm someone and be you know, you have to come, you know, Purkajana Kacha. It's been a minute, man Kacha, you know, even though Ngadiam Funo regularly, Konika Kacha, I mean, but Purkajaka, someone in Kameno Kacha, almost 42 people friendly banji beka and mo jamal mi anako mo wuli wuli fana mina jibela after this program so wala na kumara baka purgaje ka kaja honest conversation with me anako dia list real purgaje ko nyena nye kaja as far as those issues are concerned no usman be fana ten lambe jeyda bake you know purgaje ke so nyambi sam baka chala bake purgaje ko na kaja ila move la United Democratic Party because na NPP ko dole ma ako itamu malum feta mu nyaadi lati itali samor soro signing, you know, so wala mama candidate so ikete ita di UDP lale UDP ban west mekang so itali mi samor soro ita they should jubilate it. So I mean someone never kaja on that area kaja from la wana back I know it's going to be an interesting program but abarka ina jam ka program ni lamay o kamal nete ni jay aloma la badawada na tendu na jay gambe banko kanem banko e bandala especially minana ko United States jam and America bantala mi anna ko kasiba kan jibe from all the states nin travel to the states in kamoja mi anna ko be ka content back nga program mo minge ndara Wisconsin na gameno tare je miana ko kontan la baake nga do ko minke avendo Denver as well pour ga esanjaje nan karamo bari mannaje bari kabin dara Denver Usman wala kunko warta je bakel de ko inyana seno kera wala je kam da ko bari Ilyas but I mean, joke
Oh,
aside, Matara TikTok live for 1 hour from now again until 2 o'clock. It's 12:49 here. Matara TikTok live. Me and the ning demino bakachara bage. Be program me and the nasoto. Momo interest for join TikTok live is a center TikTok. Think Point podcast. Porque kachani tenden jo fanani na tendu na jai ka taran fe nyin jang kabin program starin la fala balla ala barka bake ala lamai ko mala fo sama inshallah ala barka bake.
thank you. Baraka, thank you so much.